Welcome to part 3 of the session. Elizabeth Campbell, in her book entitled The Ethical Teacher, for example, explicitly acknowledges the inherent ethical character of the teaching enterprise. She indicates that teachers' moral commitment has a dual character. The first relates to the exacting ethical standards the teacher as a moral person and a moral professional holds himself or herself. And the second concerns the teacher as a moral educator, model, and exemplar whose aim is to guide students towards a moral life. The dual nature is possible because teaching is by nature moral. In the same vein, Prink, in his book entitled and published in the year 2001, asserts that it is an activity in which the teacher is sharing in a moral enterprise, the initiation of young people into a worthwhile way of seeing the world, of experiencing it, of relating to others in a more human and understanding way. Teachers are moral practitioners just as medical doctors and lawyers. Whereas doctors and lawyers are concerned with the basic needs such as health and justice, respectively, teachers are directly concerned with education, a basic human right. In many countries, moral education is taught right from elementary school to university. These educational institutions are agencies with an obligation to provide ethics education to students and raise the necessary awareness on the importance of ethics. Educational institutions and spiritual organizations must instill in youth such values as tolerance, integrity, responsibility, justice, respect, solidarity, and fairness. These are the values that remain true and universal across times and cultures. Only by fostering the highest ethical and moral values can we ensure the well-being of our people. We have a unique responsibility to reinvigorate culture of transparency and ethical values, replacing insular business or professional or personal culture in the society. We as teachers have a moral duty to the truth, and we are the last stop where individuals will wrestle with these issues. According to Swami Vivekananda, and I quote, a true teacher is one who can immediately come down to the level of the student, transfer his or her soul to the student's soul, and see through and understand through his or her mind. Such a teacher can really teach and nothing else. Unquote. A good teacher is one who is himself or herself a student, a learner first. Rabindranath Tagore once said, and I quote, a teacher can never truly teach unless he or she is still learning himself or herself. A lamp can never light another lamp unless it continues to burn its own flame. A teacher who has come to the end of his or her subject, who has no living traffic with his or her knowledge, but merely repeats his or her lessons to his or her students, can only load their minds. Unquote. It is also very important for the teachers to provide opportunities to the new generation to make up their own minds about how profitability should be assessed and how about their individual careers will mesh with the broader social good. Generally, students are now more job market oriented. I do not find anything unnecessarily wrong in this. I believe that equipping students for employment is one among the core missions of higher education. But inculcating good habits for the promotion of good citizenship and social integration is no less a valid mission. Every institution of higher education must be devoted heavily to inculcate social values. It is essential to bring together experts in the field of ethics so we can realize together the potential for ethics, for education and administration. As teachers, we need to be trained in our teaching methodology and pedagogy. We need to realize that education is motivated by three major goals: to describe, to predict, and improve human conduct. We need to be exposed to our research efforts that allow us to answer each of these goals by using observational methods for description, correlational methods for prediction, and experimental methods for improvement in human conduct. Unless teachers are not willing to walk down the talk of values on a two-way street with the students, there is no hope for realizing the cherished goal of applying values to education. They need to realize that achieving this goal is a worthwhile adventure that offers immense advantage to the educational institutions and the academic community at large. Our society is going through rapid and profound changes due to globalization processes, economic crisis, and advancement of technology, social innovation, migrations, and challenges to peaceful existence. All these societal transformations present the educational sector and especially teachers with new challenges. The development of a knowledge-based society and the globalization process are creating new social and individual needs in the areas of culture, technological development, social cohesion, and education. Education, given its importance in knowledge production, transfer, and in preparing an individual for further life and work, has gained considerable importance. Within such a framework, ethics education, intercultural dialogue, and critical thinking have a significant role in forming an ethically mature human person. Ethics is the foundation of our human relationship to ourselves and the world around us. The purpose and role of ethics has always been the preservation of the human being as a person, human dignity, and the conditions for leading a good life. Ethics protects and nurtures humanity of our existence, both in ourselves and in others. We always live in relationship to others, namely in a relationship of mutual giving and receiving. Therefore, recognition of our dependence on others and caring for others is essential. This communitarian nature of ethics is extremely important and dictates reflections on justice, solidarity, compassion, and cooperation. Students need to understand the importance of acting responsibly and respectfully when using technology, social media, or mobile devices. Human values need to be applied to practicing good digital citizenship, whereby students learn to avoid the misuse of information or respect others' right to peace and privacy. They need to show tolerance and understanding to those who are less fortunate economically or socially. Now let's take a look at the problems as well as challenges that are faced while promoting teachers' ethics. The first and the foremost problem would be complex teaching and learning habits leading to confusion. The second would be habit of taking exceptions as general rule by the teachers. Third, lack of introspection or inward thinking habit. Fourth, closed and egocentric mindset. Fifth, lack of confidence and commitment to teaching. Sixth, lack of faith in the students. Seventh, insincerity towards oneself. Eighth, critique of traditional wisdom. Ninth, glamour or sensuous pleasure driven. And tenth, lack of patience and ability to listen or empathize. People who want to learn or teach ethics must realize that ethics does not end with profession. It ends with the way of life. It is not a religion, but it is doing things right. It is not only doing things right by your own standards, it must be doing things right by what society perceives and the history perceives you to do. You therefore have to be very careful in doing and thinking of what you want to do. That means if ethics are to be brought in by policing, sorry, that does not work. Ethics works through compassion. Ethics works within you for peace and your desire to do the best for people at large. And there is no path to peace. Peace is the path. This is what the dream of the father of the nation was, and this is what he had said. The main problem pertaining to teachers' ethics is the very nature of ethics. Ethics is application based, and one who has not sensitized himself or herself with ethical values in daily life cannot teach ethics satisfactorily. One has to have deep rooted faith in ethical practices for doing justice to the teaching or for teaching to the satisfaction of the students. Today, the major question that has emerged is whether ethics is something that can be taught. Gregory Jones, president of leadership education at Duke University, says that you can certainly teach ethics. He points out that you cannot teach ethics the way you teach a technique or a subject. It is not as simple as saying, do not lie, do not steal, etc. That does not work. Adopt a humble approach to learning. Focus on large questions, and that will help you convey the core essence of ethics to others. It is the way in which a teacher behaves, treats his or her students, and handles situations in the classrooms that actually creates and sets the discourse for ethics. Thus, setting the right examples and instilling the right values is important. Promoting teacher ethics is a means through which to curb dissatisfaction may arguably arise amongst teachers. There are certain challenges that seem to undermine such efforts. These challenges are, first, absence of a regular course in ethics. Teachers ought to be professionally trained in colleges where one learns ethics of the teaching industry. For many years, courses on teachers' ethics have been absent from the curriculum of teacher education and training. Colleges, departments, faculties of education do not have specific and separate courses on teacher ethics. In refresher or orientation courses, the place of teacher ethics is not well defined. As teacher ethics is not well defined, in the curriculum itself, the teaching of such a subject is not guaranteed. Oftentimes, teaching of teacher ethics in a situation depends on the interest of the teacher responsible for the course. The second challenge is professional incompetence of college teacher educators. In the absence of specific courses in professional ethics, colleges and universities tended to churn out half-baked teachers to teach without the required competence. It is generally difficult for college teachers to teach ethics when they are themselves not adequately exposed to the subject. As a result, they could hardly draw a clear distinction between the subject matter of the discipline and professional ethics. Since the colleges or other educational institutions do not have a provision for such a course, teachers in the college use different tools of ethical interventions. All these counterproductive measures undermine the central mission of college of promoting teacher ethics. The third challenge is lack of teaching materials and resources. Institutions involved also lack relevant teaching and learning resources for different courses. College libraries have inadequate books, journals, and other literatures relevant to the promotion of teacher ethics. I think the problem is funding. Though there is no evidence to confirm that practicing teachers would have time to read the books when available, the presence of such resources could serve as a stopgap measure and motivation for them to at least read something on teacher ethics. When it comes to time management, there is ample evidence suggesting that teachers do not prepare themselves for lessons, citing lack of time. However, these same teachers spend most of their time on other activities, including surfing on the web, surfing on social media. The promotion of teacher ethics extends beyond the corridors of college, since what is happening in the society has a spillover effect on the college teachers, as well as the learning environment in which they have to work. In the end, let's focus on certain conclusions that we can draw from this discussion. In the light of this discussion, it can be concluded that promotion of teacher ethics is a responsibility of both the teacher and the college. Students spend a considerable part of their valuable time with teachers, and in turn, teachers contribute significantly to their overall development. There are numerous possibilities for teachers to influence the students, to transform their attitude, and to create society that we want to live in. It can be concluded that teachers are aware of their responsibilities in shaping the moral and ethical values of students. As such, it requires the concerted and collective efforts of teachers, administrators, departmental in charges, and other stakeholders of the college to shape students in the desired manner. In this regard, certain things can be recommended. First, college should make courses and design workshops on teacher ethics mandatory. Such courses and workshops would expose teachers to ethics pertaining to their vocation and to motivate them to lead exemplary lives worthy of their profession. Secondly, the foundation of the ethical conduct of teachers is to a certain degree to be laid by the head of the institution. Without appropriate ethical administration, teachers will find it difficult to improve their conduct. It is suggested that senior teachers have the responsibility to promote and develop character traits of teachers when they join the college. Thirdly, facts from the discussion indicate that there is a need for a well-defined teacher education policy and effective regulations for all institutions in accordance with ethics and patriotism. Thank you.